The little girl's eyes held a secret that would change everything. As Mark Davidson pulled his truck over to help the child wandering alone on the rainy highway, he had no idea that by nightfall, his entire world would be turned upside down. If you've ever wondered how a single moment of kindness could spiral into a life-altering revelation, this story will show you just how thin the line between ordinary and extraordinary truly is. Before we dive deeper into Mark's incredible journey, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories that remind us how unexpected encounters can transform lives forever. The windshield wipers fought against the downpour as Mark Davidson drove home from his construction job. At 42, his weathered hands gripped the steering wheel with the same determination that had gotten him through the past 5 years as a single father. His daughter Emma was staying with his sister tonight, giving him a rare evening to himself, though the emptiness of those solitary hours always left him restless. Through the curtain of rain, he almost missed her, a small figure in a yellow raincoat standing at the roadside, her arm extended in a hesitant wave. Mark's truck screeched to a halt, sending a spray of water across the asphalt. "Hey there," he called through the passenger window he'd rolled down. "Are you okay? Where are your parents?" The girl couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. Her dark hair was plastered to her face, and despite the raincoat, she was soaked through. Her eyes, wide and intelligent, regarded him with a mixture of fear and hope. "I got lost," she said simply. "My mom's going to be so worried." Mark glanced around. They were on a rural stretch of highway outside Portland, with nothing but dense forest on either side. No houses, no other cars, just endless trees disappearing into the mist. "Hop in," he said, reaching across to open the door. "We'll figure this out together." As a father, every protective instinct in his body had kicked into high gear. He couldn't leave a child alone on the road, especially not in this weather. The girl climbed in, her small yellow boots leaving puddles on his floor mat. "I'm Mark," he said, turning the heater up. "What's your name?" "Lily," she replied, her voice barely audible above the rain hammering on the roof. "Okay, Lily. Do you know your mom's phone number? Or your address?" She shook her head, water droplets flying from her dark curls. "We're not from here. We're staying at a big house in the woods. Mom had a meeting, and I wanted to explore, but then it started raining, and I couldn't find my way back." Mark's brow furrowed. There weren't many big houses in these woods, except for a few luxury retreats owned by wealthy out-of-towners. He pulled out his phone to call the police, but the screen showed no service, typical for this remote area. "Tell you what," he said, putting the truck in gear. "There's a diner about 10 minutes from here. We'll go there, get you warmed up, and use their phone to call for help. Sound good?" Lily nodded, her small hands clutching the seatbelt across her chest. As they drove, Mark tried to keep her calm with gentle questions. "So, you're not from Portland? Where's home for you?" "New York," she answered. "But we travel a lot. Mom has businesses everywhere." "What does your mom do?" Lily's face brightened slightly. "She makes computers. Special ones that can think like people. Everyone knows her." Mark smiled, assuming the exaggeration of a child proud of her parent. "And your dad? Is he with you on this trip?" The light in her eyes dimmed. "I don't have a dad. It's just me and Mom." The familiar ache of single parenthood resonated in Mark's chest. "I know how that goes. It's just me and my daughter Emma. She's a bit older than you, 12 going on 30, if you ask her." This earned him a small smile from Lily. The neon sign of Marge's diner glowed through the rain as they pulled into the gravel parking lot. Inside, the warmth and smell of coffee wrapped around them like a blanket. Marge herself, a 60-something woman with dyed red hair and reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck, looked up from behind the counter. "Mark Davidson," she called out. "Didn't expect to see you tonight. And who's this little one?" "This is Lily," Mark explained. found her on the side of the road. She got separated from her mom. They're staying at one of those big places in the woods. Marge's expression shifted to concern. Poor thing. Let's get you dried off and something warm to drink. While Lily sipped hot chocolate topped with whipped cream, Mark used the diner's landline to call the sheriff's office. They promised to send a deputy but warned it might take time given the weather and a multi-car accident on the highway. They'll be here as soon as they can, Mark told Lily, sliding into the booth across from her. In the meantime, can you tell me anything else about where you're staying? Any landmarks you remember? Lily thought for a moment, her forehead creasing with concentration. There's a big gate with cameras. And a long driveway with trees. The house has lots of windows and a blue door. And there's a statue of a horse in the garden. Mark exchanged glances with Marge, who had brought over a plate of fries for Lily. Sounds like the old Harrington estate, Marge said. Been sold a few times in recent years. Last I heard, some tech company was using it as a retreat center. That's probably it, Mark agreed. But we should wait for the sheriff before. The diner's door flew open, letting in a gust of wind and rain. A woman stood in the doorway, her silhouette backlit by the headlights of a sleek black SUV parked outside. As she stepped into the light, Mark felt the air leave his lungs. She was striking, tall and elegant even in rain-soaked clothes, with the same dark hair as Lily, though hers was cut in a sharp bob. Her eyes, intense and focused, scanned the diner until they landed on Lily. "Mom!" Lily cried, scrambling out of the booth and running to the woman, who dropped to her knees to embrace her. "Lily," the woman breathed, holding her daughter tight. "Do you have any idea how worried I've been?" Mark stood awkwardly, suddenly aware of his mud-splattered work clothes and 3-day stubble. The woman looked up at him over Lily's shoulder, her gaze sharp and assessing. "Are you the one who found her?" she asked, rising to her feet while keeping a protective arm around Lily. "Yes, ma'am," Mark replied. "She was on Highway 26, about 5 miles east of here. I'm Mark Davidson." The woman approached, extending her hand. "Katherine Chen. I can't thank you enough for helping my daughter." The name hit Mark like a physical blow. Katherine Chen, founder and CEO of Nexus AI, one of the most valuable technology companies in the world. Her face had been on the cover of every business magazine in the past year. The computers that think like people Lily had mentioned weren't a child's exaggeration. Her mother was pioneering the most advanced artificial intelligence systems on the planet. It was nothing, Mark managed, shaking her hand. Anyone would have done the same. Katherine's expression suggested she didn't share his faith in humanity. "Nevertheless, you have my gratitude." She turned to Lily. "We need to go now, sweetheart. I've been looking everywhere for you." "How did you find us?" Mark asked. Katherine hesitated. "I tracked her raincoat." "Her raincoat?" "It has a GPS locator sewn into the lining," she explained, her tone matter-of-fact. "After what happened last time, I take precautions." The words hung in the air between them. "Last time?" Mark felt a chill that had nothing to do with the rain. "Well," he said, "I'm glad everything worked out. The sheriff's on his way, but I guess you won't need him now." Katherine's posture stiffened. "The police are coming?" "Standard procedure when a child is found alone," Mark explained. "They shouldn't be long." Something flashed across Katherine's face, fear, perhaps, or calculation. She checked her watch. "I see. Well, we really should be going. Thank you again, Mr. Davidson." As they turned to leave, Lily broke away from her mother and ran back to Mark, wrapping her arms around his waist in a quick hug. "Thank you for saving me," she whispered. "You take care, Lily," he said, patting her head gently. Katherine watched this exchange with an unreadable expression before ushering Lily out the door. Through the window, Mark saw them climb into the SUV, which pulled away with surprising speed given the weather conditions. "Well, that was something," Marge said, coming to stand beside him. "Wasn't that the woman who's always in the news? The AI lady?" Mark nodded, still staring at the empty parking lot where the SUV had been. "Yeah. Katherine Chen. Seemed in an awful hurry to leave before the sheriff showed up," Marge observed. Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The GPS in the raincoat, the mention of last time, Katherine's reaction to the police, it all felt off. "I should head home," he said, leaving money on the counter for Lily's hot chocolate and fries. "Thanks, Marge." The rain had eased to a drizzle as Mark drove home, his mind replaying the strange encounter. By the time he reached his modest two-bedroom house, he'd convinced himself he was overthinking things. Rich people were different, they had security concerns most folks couldn't imagine. The GPS tracker was probably just a precaution for a woman whose child could be a target for kidnapping. He was about to turn in for the night when his phone rang. The screen showed an unknown number. "Hello? Mr. Davidson." Katherine Chen's voice was unmistakable. "I apologize for calling so late. I got your number from the diner owner." Mark sat on the edge of his bed. "Is everything okay? Is Lily all right?" "Lily is fine, thanks to you. But I need to speak with you. In person. It's important." Mark checked the time, nearly midnight. "Now?" "Yes. It concerns your safety. And possibly your daughter's." His heart rate spiked. "What about Emma? What's going on?" "I can't explain over the phone. I'm sending a car for you. It will be there in 20 minutes. Before he could protest, she hung up. Mark sat frozen, staring at his phone. His first instinct was to call his sister, to check on Emma, but he didn't want to alarm her in the middle of the night. Instead, he texted, "Everything okay with Em? Just checking." The reply came quickly, "She's fine. Sound asleep. You okay?" "All good," he texted back. "Talk tomorrow." 20 minutes later, headlights swept across his living room window. Mark peered out to see a different black SUV from the one at the diner. A driver in a dark suit stood by the passenger door, waiting. Every instinct told Mark this was crazy. You didn't just get into cars sent by billionaires in the middle of the night. And yet, Katherine's words echoed in his mind, "It concerns your safety. And possibly your daughter's." He grabbed his jacket and went outside. The drive took less than 30 minutes, winding deeper into the forest until they reached an imposing gate that opened automatically as they approached. The big house Lily had described came into view, a modern architectural marvel of glass and stone, perched on the edge of a cliff overlooking a valley. Security cameras tracked their movement up the long driveway. The driver led Mark through a cavernous entryway into a living room with floor-to-ceiling windows. Katherine Chen stood with her back to him, gazing out at the night, a glass of amber liquid in her hand. "Thank you for coming," she said without turning around. "Please, sit." Mark remained standing. "You said my daughter might be in danger. I want to know what's going on." Katherine turned to face him. She'd changed into casual but expensive-looking clothes, dark jeans and a simple gray sweater that probably cost more than Mark's monthly mortgage payment. Without the rain and panic, she looked both younger and more tired than she had at the diner. "First, I need to know exactly what Lily told you," she said. Mark frowned. "Not much. That you're from New York, that you make computers, that her father isn't in the picture." "Why?" Katherine took a sip from her glass. "And did she say anything unusual? Anything that struck you as strange?" "No," Mark replied, growing impatient. "Look, Miss Chen." "Katherine, please." "Katherine. You didn't bring me here at midnight to quiz me about my conversation with your daughter. What's this about?" She set her glass down and approached him. "You seem like a good man, Mr. Davidson." "Mark." "Mark." She nodded. "A good father. Someone who cares about protecting children. That's why I'm taking a risk in telling you this." She paused, seeming to weigh her words carefully. "Lily is in danger. Has been for years. And by helping her today, you may have inadvertently put yourself, and possibly your own daughter, in the same danger." Mark felt his mouth go dry. "From who?" "From her father." "I thought Lily said she doesn't have a father." Catherine's laugh was bitter. "That's what I've taught her to say. It's safer that way." She walked back to the window. "Lily's father is Alexei Volkov." The name meant nothing to Mark, and his expression must have shown it. "You wouldn't know him," Katherine continued. "He's not in the public eye. But in certain circles, he's very well known. He's Russian intelligence, or was. Now he runs a private security firm that serves as a front for less legitimate operations." Mark sank into the nearest chair. "You're saying Lily's father is some kind of spy? Or criminal?" "Both. We met when I was expanding Nexus into Eastern European markets. He was charming, brilliant, connected. By the time I realized who he really was, I was already pregnant with Lily." Catherine's voice remained steady, but her knuckles were white around her glass. "When she was 3, he tried to take her. Not for love, Alexei doesn't love anyone, but for leverage. Control over me, my company, my technology. What happened? I was lucky. I had resources, connections of my own. I managed to get Lily back and secure a restraining order, but legal protections mean nothing to a man like Alexei. We've been running ever since, staying one step ahead. New identities, new security protocols. The GPS in Lily's clothes is just one precaution among dozens." Mark tried to process this information. It sounded like the plot of a thriller, not real life. "And you think he's found you again? Here in Oregon?" Katherine nodded grimly. "I know he has. There have been signs, unusual network activity, surveillance drones near the property. That's why I was so alarmed when Lily disappeared today. And why I was concerned about the police involvement." "You think he has people inside law enforcement?" "I know he does. Not every officer, of course, but enough that I can't risk official channels. If a police report about Lily had been filed, it would have been like sending up a flare announcing our location." Mark ran a hand through his hair. "Okay, but what does any of this have to do with me or my daughter?" Katherine sat across from him, leaning forward. "Alexei's people will have seen you with Lily. They'll have run your plates, learned your identity. They'll know about Emma. And they'll assume you're connected to me somehow." The implication hit Mark like a physical blow. "You think they might come after Emma to get to Lily? Or to you?" "It's a possibility we have to consider," Katherine said, her voice softening. "I'm sorry. This isn't fair to you or your daughter. You did a kind thing, helping a lost child, and now I'm telling you this nightmare scenario." Mark stood abruptly, pacing the room. "I need to get Emma. We need to go somewhere safe." "That's why I brought you here," Katherine said. "This property has state-of-the-art security. I've already sent a team to collect your daughter from your sister's house." "You what?" Mark whirled on her. "You sent strangers to take my daughter in the middle of the night?" Katherine held up her hands. No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The team is on standby. They won't approach without your permission and presence." "I would never." She trailed off. "I know what it means to fear for your child's safety. I